Well, now I've cut the fin and the rudder out of the plans. And these are full-scale plans. And then what you do is just take a piece of wax paper. Put it over the top of it. And just tape it down. Okay, now we got this section done, and they give you little check marks. You can check them off as you go and stuff, but pretty easy. Let's see. And see what they say here is they tell you each thing. It says make the leading edge and trailing edge LE&TE using 3/16 by 1/2 inch by 14 inch balsa sticks. And I have a pile of wood over here. It's all kinds of different stuff. It's die cut, it's balsa stuff, sticks, wood, basswood. It's all different. It's all mixed up. So what I like to do is I like to go through my pile, go through here and find every piece that I'm going to need, and I set it out so that it's easy for me to just grab and put it together. So that's what I'll do now, and I'll bring you guys back when I start putting it back together. Alright, I have all my wood laid out. And basically this is just wood that's left over from the stabilizer. So it's pretty easy here. So basically what I want to do is I'm going to show you guys how you cut this wood. It tells you the length of the wood that you want to grab out of your pile, the sizes and everything. And that's where this Hobbico little triangle compass thing comes in handy, because on the edge here it has, I showed you guys before, it has all the sizes right there. So all you do is it says 3/16, so you just slip that over. That's a 3/16 piece. You know, pretty easy. So you can, makes it a little faster so you can pick through your wood and find stuff. But basically all you want to do is just line it up on the plan and then just put it down at the other end of the plan. And you can make marks like I did here. I did make a mark on here. But you can also just place it on there. Like so. You can just make a little cut, and like I said, you don't want to finish this cut because you cut through your wax paper and then your glue will seep through into your plans. And then after you cut it, you always want to make sure to lay it down there and double check it. And it's just a bit long, and that's what I usually try to do, is just make them tiny bit too long, and then I can go back and I can just sand it, and that right there is perfect. So I got that piece trimmed up. So now all we gotta do is just line up this piece. You can start right back here. And the reason why I'm starting back here is because this is the surface that this rudder is going to be on, so I want to make sure I get that piece straight. There we go. Put a couple couple in the center just to be sure. Make sure it's lined up with our lines. Because sometimes the wood will, you know, have a little bow in it or warp, so you want to make sure it's lined up. Now we just got to wait for the glue to dry, and I'm just going to give it just a second, and then I'm going to go over it with a thin CA over all the seams, and then let that dry for a couple minutes while it's all pinned down. It's keeping it nice and flat, so there's no bows or nothing in it. And then I'm going to pull it off of here, and I'm going to sand it. I'm going to sand the whole thing nice and smooth, and then I'm going to sheet it. Alright, we have our fin all built. It's all been glued, it's been dried, I've sanded it. It's very nice and smooth. You want to make sure you get all the seams real nice and even and everything right now, because once you put this sheeting over the top of it, it's going to be kind of hard to get to it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically sheet this here. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to try to pick a pretty smooth end, which is right here. Seems like. Seems to be a good one. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a nice bead all the way around real fast. Just like that. We're going to line up our sheet real quick. Like so. Give her a nice press down. And then we're just going to lay all of our weight on top of it. Just like that. And we're just going to let that sit for a little bit and dry. There we go. We have one side sheeted. I have it pretty much trimmed up. Just it needs to be a final sanding. And then what I'll do is I'll flip it over and I'll do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright, so we have our stabilizer built. We have the two elevators built that will be attached to it and hinged to it. And we have the fin built that goes up on top of here. And I have the rudder. This is the rudder that'll sit on here. So this has all been built. It's all ready to go. It just needs to be final sanded. And then all the edges need to be rounded. And these back here will be fine. Those need to be flat. But these edges here have to have a 45-degree chamfer put onto it, so that when it's hinged, when it's hinged like this, it'll have this part right here will have a 45-degree cut in the wood, so that it will easily be able to pivot and be tight. You got to make sure that this gap in here, that's in between these, it needs to be straight and it needs to be tight. Because if there's a gap or something, and if it's crooked, if there's a big gap or something, that actually could create flutter. When you fly, this thing will flutter real bad because wind will get in between there and it'll actually make this flutter and it can break these off. That's not what good when you lose a control surface on an airplane. So, we got to do that. The one thing that we can do is, this is a trick that I learned many years ago. And I'll show you what I do. So you guys have seen these playing cards maybe sitting on my table here. Well, I don't sit out here in my RC workshop and play cards. What I do with these is I use these to find a center point. So what I can do is I can pile so many cards down. And right here we're going to try 2. And then I'll put the control surface down on top of it. And then I grab a felt tip pen. And I basically just hold it down and press it down so it's flat. And I just make a little mark. Just like that. You can see that little mark right there. And then what I do is I flip it over. And I put it right back on it. And I make another little mark. Now we see if those two marks match up. It's really close. So what we can do is we can add another one. We can see if that comes closer. Make a mark. Okay, so we're actually going to go with the 2 cards, because that's more of a solid line, gives us more center, that has more of a spacing. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay 2 cards in a pile and just make piles of 2 cards, because that's the height that I need. Just like that. We put our elevator on there. We grab our felt tip pen and we just hold it to it. And we just make a mark. And there we go. We have our center line marked where we're going to hinge this all the way down the whole surface. Now I need to do the same thing for the elevators, but the elevators are different thickness. They're a little bit thicker. So we'll try it and we'll see where it comes out. We're going to use 2 and see how it works. We'll just do a little test strip. And then we'll do another little test strip. And it actually works perfect. So put our elevator down on here. There we go. And now next what I'm going to be doing is, it's called a razor plane. I believe this is made by Hobbico. I'm not really sure. Maybe a different company. Windsor Company? I don't know. It's just a little plastic razor plane. It's just like a plane for, you know, a hand plane for wood and everything, except it's just a little mini one. And it has like a little tiny razor blade in there. What we need to do is we need to put a 45-degree angle on here. It doesn't have to be exactly 45, but, you know, we want to try to get it pretty close. So we just try to hold it at about a 45. And we just keep doing this over and over again. But there's a little bit on the edge where I can't get the planer in. So that I'm going to have to sand by hand. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go for it. So I'm just going to take my sander and just try to be it. There we go. Now we have a 45-degree kind of bevel on both sides of this. So now when we put it on there, it's going to be able to bend about that much. It's right about there before it bottoms out. Right there. So you got that much. And that's plenty of throw for this plane. You can do however much you want to. You can put whatever kind of angle you want to on it. That's plenty right there. So now I need to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to round these edges on here, because these are square flat edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them rounded. It makes it easier. It's a nicer airflow and everything instead of having an abrupt stop here, so you're supposed to round these front edges. And an easy job to do that, you could take a piece of sandpaper, hold it on there and stuff, and rub it down. That would work. I have this little sander, and you can see it here. What it has is it's specially built. This is another. This is from Great Plains. It's an Easy Touch Contour Multi Sander. And what it has, it does have a 45 deal right here in the center of it. So what I could do is I could put this right in here and go like this. And that's going to give me my front bevel too. It's another easy way to do it. Or else, this here, this wider part is actually for the front of the wings to make them rounded. And then there's a real small rounded part over here, and that's for pieces like this. And so we just put these in here. It'll probably be easier if I lay it down here. See what it starts to do is it starts to round off this edge, and I'm just going to keep doing this over and over again until I get a nice round edge. Well, there we go, guys. We are done with the tail section. We have our stabilizer with our elevators. They're all mounted up. You can see them. They're all hinged and stuff. You know, they're not glued permanently. It has to be covered first. But you can see how they'll work like that. And then this will be our fin. And you can see how this is going right here. And so you got your rudder there, your elevators, starting to look like something. Tail of an airplane. So there we go, guys. I hope that you guys are enjoying this. So far, I would say that I have probably, it's going to kind of blow your minds. I would say I probably have around probably 12 to 14 hours building this. It's been taking a little bit longer because I haven't done this for quite a few years, and a lot of my tooling was scattered all over the place, and I had to figure it out and where it is and everything. So it took a little bit longer, you know, to get everything all together and get started. But once I got started, I started rocking through it pretty good. And so the next step is going to be building wings. So we will do that next time. I hope that everybody out there is having themselves a great day, great night, whatever it is when you're watching this. And if you're not, we certainly could try that over again tomorrow. Otherwise than that, if you guys enjoy these videos and you think maybe, hey, maybe that's something I'd like to do, you can buy these things all pre-built up and everything. I just find this relaxing and I enjoy doing it. And when you're done, it's, you know, you got a lot of pride in it. So I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.